On March 19, 2004, in the quiet, rural town of Montgomery, Vermont, a mystery unfolded that would haunt an entire region for decades. A green 1985 Oldsmobile was discovered awkwardly backed into an abandoned farmhouse. Its rear bumper lodged into the wall, and from that moment on, she would become the center of one of the most perplexing missing person cases in American history. The car's headlights were still on. Inside were the driver's belongings, her wallet, ATM card, makeup bag, and migraine medication. Afterward, she went out for lunch with her mother, Kelly, in the nearby town of St. Albans. According to Kelly, their time together was warm and pleasant. They shopped, laughed, and talked about Brianna's future. But then, something strange happened. Brianna's things were inside the car. Her paycheck was on the passenger seat, but there were no signs of a struggle. Brianna had left behind everything important to her contacts, her medication, her plans. Some whispered that Brianna had fallen in with the wrong crowd, that she owed money or had witnessed something she shouldn't have. There were claims of drug-related conflicts, of people who wanted to silence her. One particularly disturbing rumor involved a group of local individuals who allegedly confessed at a party to harming her. Some investigators believe the car was deliberately placed that way to stage an accident or buy time. The farmhouse has become a symbol of unanswered questions. It has since been demolished, yet, to her family, she will always be 17 frozen in time, her life interrupted by a question that still has no answer. But the image of that car against its wall is seared into the minds of everyone who has followed Brianna's story. Others believe it was an impulsive escape attempt gone wrong. Especially her mother, have never stopped searching. They've endured years of false leads, dead ends, and silence, but they remain determined to find the truth, or at least find Brianna. The Vermont State Police continue to treat the case as active. A $40,000 reward remains on the table for information that leads to resolution. One witness later told police they saw two shadowy figures walking away from the farmhouse shortly after midnight, but that sighting, like so many others, led nowhere concrete. But when police followed up, those confessions were dismissed as drunken lies. Or a stranger. Even the smallest clue could make a difference. And if you're as haunted by cold cases as we are, be sure to watch our next documentary on the disappearance of Mariana, young woman lost in the fog of mystery. The truth is still out there, buried in silence, fear, and secrets. Friends described her as hopeful and excited about the future, not someone who would vanish willingly. No blood, no fingerprints, no tracks leading away from the scene. It was as if she had been erased. Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to keep these stories alive, because every voice adds weight to the truth, and the truth is all Brianna's family has ever wanted. While walking back to the car, Brianna saw something, or someone that visibly unsettled her. Her demeanor changed. When her mother asked if everything was okay, Brianna shrugged it off, saying she'd talk about it later. They never got that chance. Each time, her family's hopes surged only to be crushed when the leads led nowhere. Like many teens on the edge of adulthood, she was navigating the push and pull of freedom and responsibility. That DNA, in 2022, matched one of 11 individuals who had long been considered persons of interest in the case. But police refused to name the person, citing an active investigation. That revelation sparked renewed interest in the case, but it also raised more questions than answers. If a suspect was identified, why no arrests? What are authorities waiting for? She had dropped out of high school but was determined to get her GED. She worked two jobs, one at a restaurant called the Black Lantern and another on a farm. She had dreams, friends, and a complicated personal life. But nothing in her recent behavior suggested she would simply vanish. But the driver, she was nowhere to be found. That driver was 17-year-old Brianna Maitland. She finished her shift around 11:20 p.m. and told co-workers she was heading home to rest before her morning shift at the farm. It was the last time anyone saw her. Brianna was a spirited, independent teenager who had recently moved out of her parents' home. The day of her disappearance started like any other. That morning, Brianna took her GED practice test. That evening, Brianna drove herself to work at the Black Lantern in Montgomery between 11:30 p.m. and 12:30 a.m. Somewhere along the rural stretch of Route 118, Brianna's car ended up at the abandoned Dutchburn farmhouse. It wasn't discovered until the following morning by passing motorists. They noticed the odd positioning of the Corvette's rear end jammed into the building, one turn signal still blinking. It looked like an accident, but something didn't feel right. The car wasn't reported to police until later that afternoon. And even then, no one realized it belonged to a missing girl until days later, when Brianna's family filed a report. When authorities began investigating, the evidence only deepened the mystery. Rumors quickly began to swirl. Some believed she had run away, maybe to start a new life, but her family rejected that idea. Then came the more sinister theories. Montgomery was a small town, but it wasn't immune to darker Years passed, and the leads grew colder. There were reported sightings of Brianna across the country, in Atlantic City, in Las Vegas, even in Canada. In 2016, a glimmer of hope appeared. New technology allowed police to extract DNA from items found in Brianna's car. Among the most haunting images of the case remains the car itself. lodged into the Dutchburn house like a grim monument. To this day, her parents, it's been over 2 decades. Brianna would be in her late 30s today. What really happened to Brianna Maitland on that March night in 2004? Was she abducted? Murdered? Was it someone she trusted? If you know something, say something. Don't forget to like this video.